Hello and welcome to another chess video. We're going to look at a game from round 8 of the Tata Steel Masters. I am Master Johansson from Iceland, and yeah, today is a free day as I'm recording this at the Tata Steel. So I want to catch up a little bit with what Anand has been doing, and he has actually won 2 games in a row and joined Magnus Carlsen as the joint leader of the tournament. Before we start the game, I want to throw a shout out to one of my viewers. My friend was just in Oslo and he was staying at the Clarion Hotel, and there he met a Norwegian chap by the name of Runar, who watches my videos. So shout out to you, Runar, very nice to hear. But we're going to move on to the game. And Anand had the white pieces against Mamedyarov. This is the 8th round. And Anand opens with e4. We have the Carlsen by Mamedyarov. d4, d5, and Anand goes for the advanced variation. Of course, bishop f5 is the main move here, and many theoretical battles have been fought in those lines. But Mamedyarov goes for this line with c5, which is well established, even though it looks strange because it's kind of after d takes e5, e6, which happened. It's looking like an advanced French where black has wasted the tempo in playing c6 and c5. On the other hand, white has played d takes c5, which is often considered a little bit of a concession. So it's a little bit of a give and take. So okay, after e6, white goes knight to f3. Black captures the pawn. And now a3 by white. And yeah, this is not really to prevent anything coming to b4, it's just that white wants to expand with b4 and play his bishop to b2. He will do this later in the game. Black continues with development, knight to e7, bishop comes to d3. Very aggressive square, of course, eyeing the h7 square if black were to castle. But black plays knight g6 first here, blocking this diagonal. Now we have castles from both sides and knight b to d2. Yeah, this looks like a better square than c3 because after you play b4, you want this knight on b3 because white would really like to anchor a knight here on the d4 square. A very nice blockading square for a knight. Black gets his pieces out as well, knight c6. Good square for the knight, controlling d4. Finally, b4 arrives on the board. Bishop retreats and bishop to b2. No, he didn't play bishop b2, I apologize. He took on g6. The thing is, bishop b2 was the move that was previously played in this position. Bishop takes g6, as Anand played in this game, is actually a novelty. And funnily enough, bishop b2 and knight f4 had been played before in plenty of games, and one of them being Vityukov against Anand with the black pieces. So it's clear that Anand knew about this position and probably had an idea that he wanted to play here, and that was to take on g6. So white gives up the light squared bishop, and this eases the pressure on the e5 pawn and perhaps makes it easier for white to establish a knight on d4. He now plays knight to b3. And here, perhaps one of the first moments where Mamedyarov could have played a better move. He played bishop d7, which doesn't look bad in any way. Anand mentioned himself after the game that perhaps black should have played a5. And the point being that if white plays b5, which he wants to play because it kicks the knight away and gives him the d4 square, black has the move a4, a Zwischenzug, and this undermines a knight being able to come to d4. So after takes, of course, we will take on b3, and the fight for this square continues. Another idea is perhaps to play h6 and then push g5, and at a later stage you can maneuver your bishop over to the king side, maybe to the g6 square or h5. Because at the moment this bishop is, as often happens in French and Carlsen structures like this, it is the bad bishop. But in the game he played bishop d7. Anand played rook e1, and now Mamedyarov played a5. But the problem with that is that after b5, you no longer have the a4 move as in the previous variation, because after white takes, this guy will hang. So you have to retreat the knight, and that's what Mamedyarov did. And now Anand can close it up on the queen side. So he's clearly playing against this bishop, which is now hemmed in by these pawns, and of course by the black pawns here. Anand also said that he realized at this stage that he would have the break that he executed in the game. And let's see how that happened. First, rook c8, logical move. Half open file, and the rook has some squares that it can access on that file. Anand played bishop to e3, more or less forcing the trade, and black decided to make the trade on his own terms on e3 rather than allow it on b6. Plays knight f5, and now rook d3, doubling on the d file. At the moment, that doesn't seem to be really dangerous, but Anand has a really nice idea, and perhaps black can improve somewhere around here. But he played g5, and after h3, turns out white is actually threatening to play queen d1 to d2, which would attack two pawns, the pawn on a5 and the pawn on g5. And this explains why Mamedyarov played b6, protecting the pawn on a5. But now Anand managed to execute the break that he had been setting up. Very nice move. If you haven't seen it, see if you can find it. Anand played pawn to c4. Very nice move. The obvious point, of course, you can't take with the pawn. I will take on d7, attack the queen, so you don't have time to take this. Second point, and what happened in the game, rook takes c4. Of course, if you don't take, I will just take on d5 and have a great position. You can't even retreat with a knight. Probably I'll take on g5. No, I can't take on g5. Yeah, I'm wondering if you can do this. But probably I will take on d5, play knight d4, and have a great position. But black took on c4 with the rook. And now the tactical point of the c4 move, rook takes d5. Rook f7 was played by Mamedyarov, but of course if you take, queen takes, check, and this guy drops because of the check on the king. No way to interpose on the diagonal, so rook f7. Protecting this guy, the rook retreats. And now Anand has a very nice position. Pressure on the d file. And still we have this bishop that hasn't found the role. Here Mamedyarov went for counterplay. He played g4. Perhaps another moment where he could maybe play h6 and just try and hold on, because after g4 Anand played knight after d2. This hits the rook, and after it moves he takes on g4. So now Anand has won a pawn. The knight retreats, knight f3, renewing the pressure on the d file. So Mamedyarov blocks with knight to d5, but now knight b to d4. And here the position is surprisingly, well, close to just being lost for black. He played rook to f4, but this allows Anand to finish the game off. He plays knight c2, again hitting the rook, and it seems like the rooks were causing more trouble for black than for white here on the fourth rank. The rook goes to e4, and now Anand, final combination. See if you can find it. So if he paused and came back, Anand he took on d5. Rook takes d5, taking on d5 for the second time in the game, and this time it forced resignation. Queen takes d5 check, and no matter where the king goes, first of all, if the rook interposes, you're hanging this one, and wherever the king goes, be it to the corner or here, you will play rook to d1. and that's going to be all she wrote. So yeah, very nice win for Vishy. And yeah, I'm going to leave also a link in the description. It's to a blog by Grandmaster Alex Kolovich, and he's writing a bit about Anand and Kramnik, and sort of the difference in their approach as we find ourselves now with Kramnik at the bottom of the table with only 2 points out of 8, while Anand is currently leading the tournament. And yeah, he has some points on Anand sort of adjusting to the age, relying more on preparation, solid positions, and maybe not, having a calculation race every game. While Kramnik, while he's having fun and has admitted it, he likes to get a game every time. In the long run, it might start to hurt when you're losing games like this. But a very interesting article, and I'll leave a link down in the description. There's going to be a subscribe button if you are new to the channel. Please subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps me. And there's another video up there. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.